Boom. We are live.
Are
Coming
we
to
live?
you. Yeah, we're live.
I
It's
don't have.
happening.
Oh, there it is. There's the
It's
live
a, it's
box.
on a delay, man. You just gotta trust me, all right? You just gotta trust me.
I will trust
Um,
you with my life. Okay.
fuck. Yeah, coming to you live from my
The
computer
wonderful
room.
studios of Get Valiant, as
Yeah,
we call it,
rural Minnesota, and
Salt Lake
you,
City, Utah.
you're in the slut.
Yep, Slut, Utah. You know
Yeah.
they make those. They make those
SLUT.
shirts and stickers here now.
Oh, I bet. No, I have a friend that lives out there. Well, maybe she doesn't live out there anymore. At least she did for a long time, and that's what she would always post. Anybody coming to slut? You got to know about this. It's good times. It's good times. Very relevant.
Yes.
So we did start a tad late, and I'll admit it's because I got into a conversation with one Travis,
What did
and
you have a conversation about?
yeah, I guess what we were discussing.
Valiant.
Um, yeah, a little bit. The DMG purchase. Um,
Mm.
Anybody who is active in the Valiant fan community boards probably has seen um, what a lot of people have had to say about the big news that just happened. Um, I think everybody has had an opinion. Um, and those of us who are, really invested in Valiant as a company have really strong opinions on, um, you know, what happened when with DMG taking over. And Travis is one that has a pretty, I guess I don't know how he would characterize it. I would characterize it as a negative opinion. Um, he might not feel that that's the best way to characterize his opinion. I'm not sure. I don't want to pretend I can speak for him, but yeah, I pretty vehemently disagree with him and let him know that. Um, and Yeah, well, we got one comment in here about dropping everything already on the live chat. Are you? I'm not dropping anything. What are your thoughts on all of this?
So here's my thing, and I want to press this by saying that there's nothing that I'm going to try to say that I'm saying in any way to try to paint myself as a little bit bigger or to paint anyone as a little bit smaller of a fan or anything like that.
Yeah, I
Here's
agree
my
with you. No,
here's
nobody,
my
none of us gets to claim that we're more of a fan or less of a fan because
yeah
of one position or another.
yeah. So I mean, here's my view. Okay, like I know that a lot of people became fans of these comics during the Dinesh era of Valiant. Okay, so I do understand a lot of that little bit of loyalty. Where it's like, well, if Dinesh is gone, I'm gone because that's really all you know. For me, my fandom began with my Valiant fandom, and when Superman died and Bloodshot #1 came out, and that was a book I just picked up off the stand, and I liked it. So I mean, my fandom goes back a little bit farther. So I'm used to not having, Jim Shooter. I'm used to Acclaim. I'm used to Dinesh, and now the Dan Mintz, is that his name?
Yeah,
I'm ready for it. I mean, I don't think that any one person necessarily I'm going to tie my loyalties to. That said, I do get where people are coming from a little bit, but I would say this. You still got Warren Simons, okay? He's been there the whole time too. You still got Fred Pierce. You've got Jeff Lemire. You've got Matt Kent, Daniel Kibblesmith. You're going to have Andy Diggle. You're going to have Miko Swyan, Luis LaRosa, Juan Jose Reap, Peter Milligan, Kano, and Cafu, and all these great creators we like. You know, David Barron, Ryan Wynn, Jordy Belair when she colors. I don't know if she does anymore for us, but we have all these people. Hunter, Adam Freeman, and I just think that the only thing that changed is just the Cunios and Dinesh. And I like Dinesh. I finally got a chance to talk with him, and it's going to be sad, you know, how things kind of are going forward. But I'm still a fan of the product, and you can be a fan of both. That's the thing. Like, it's okay to be like, to love Dinesh or like Dinesh, but still want to buy the books. So for me, it's like, I'm gonna miss Dinesh. I'm gonna miss the fact that he was a guy at the conventions I would go to who would, have the time to talk to me, a guy who would respond to emails and the tweets or Facebook stuff. But I still like the comics, and I've been through some dark times with Valiant and Acclaim, so we'll just see where this goes. I'm gonna give new ownership shit new ownership the benefit of the doubt, just at least going forward, to see what happens. What about
Yeah,
you?
I'm with you. You know, some of the comments that we're getting, Jay and Travis are both commenting, and oh, Travis likes the owner shit. Um,
Ownership. Hey, you know what? And real quick, when I tweeted out all the stuff, like normally I try to tweet it on Thursdays. Hey, we're gonna be live tonight. And for a moment, I thought about saying, "Hey, we're gonna review the newest books from Acclaim Part Two," but I didn't want to be a dick because I do
no,
like I
don't
like
do
to
that.
I like to
I would
tag
get mad at
Valiant in
you if
all
you
the stuff
did
that I
that.
do, and I don't know if they would laugh, but I did think like that would be kind of funny to do that one.
I would have been mad if you did that. I'll be honest. Um, no, but some of the comments we're getting is, Jay says he's dropping Valiant because he doesn't want to support, he's choosing people over characters, which I get. I'm not saying that's not a valid position, but I disagree that you have to choose. And you were listing, the creators, Josh. You were listing the creators we still have, and Travis is saying that. It hasn't been confirmed that all those creators are going to stay around. And I agree. Yeah. I mean, we don't know the future. We can't predict the future. But I would say that just as much as, in the same way that we can't predict who's going to be, writing what book in 6 months or a year or whatever, no one else can predict that things are going to be bad, right? Like, if Matt Kent does leave, that could happen. But Robert Venditti left. He was a cornerstone, a linchpin of the Valiant universe as a creator, and he left while Dinesh was still around, and the Valiant universe kept going, and there were still good comics coming out. There were missteps at the beginning. A lot of people think one of the first the fifth series, the fifth title that Valiant launched when they rebooted was Shadow Man, and that has gotten a lot of negative reviews. So, I think that we can see that, yeah, there's been negative stuff that's happened under Dinesh's watch and a lot of positive stuff. It's possible that negative stuff is to come, but it's also possible that a lot of positive stuff is yet to come. And until I've read it and decided that it's bad, I'm not going to decide ahead of time that it's going to be bad. Just like I'm not going to decide that it's going to be good before I read it, I'm not going to decide that it's going to be bad before I read it.
Yeah, and the thing I'm going to say is that, like, guys like Travis, like we've known Travis for a long time. Travis has been a long time supporter of the podcast, and if he goes away from like reading the books, I hope that it's not like a case where it's like, we never see Travis again. I love Travis. Travis, you're great, and we'd love to have you back on. But I mean, I get like where people are coming from because, like I said, there's a lot of people. This is the only era they might know of Valiant, But I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, I like the characters, I'm gonna keep reading them, and I made this point the other day on Valiant fans, like I bought all those shitty books that Dynamite put out. Not all of them suck. I liked Gold Key Alliance, but like I bought Solar and Turok.
Solar was good, dude. Solar was good. I liked that version. Anyway,
Saying I bought everything. I've been buying Sovereigns. Like, uh, the Valiant books would have to tank pretty hard to be worse than those. And so, I mean, for me, like, hey, I hope Dinesh comes back and does something in comics. It's gonna probably be a long time before that happens because he might have a clause in his contract that says that he can't take like a similar job in this industry. And we're probably not going to hear anything from his side because he's probably got like a non-disclosure agreement or a gag order against him. But I'll tell you, when he comes back in the comics, if he does, maybe he doesn't, but if he does, man, I'm going to support those books. I'm going to support him. He's always a really great guy, but I'm still going to support like Fred and Warren, and the creators here because, the thing is, like, we still have books that are going to come out. We're going to still have Harbinger Wars 2. We're still going to have Shadow Man. And I've got no reason to believe yet that, those books are going to suck or that those books aren't going to come out. I will tell you what, though, we would normally have something coming up in the next month or so, roughly. That would be like Valiant's convention schedule. And if we didn't get that this year, I'd be a little concerned. And if come around May or June, if we didn't have some kind of like that big publishers initiative that they've been doing every year, I'd be a little concerned then too, about the changes happening to the company. And if people stop responding to me on Twitter from Valiant, those would be another thing that would worry me, and one thing that like I've been thinking about all week is the relationship that people like you and I and Travis and a lot of the people that write about comics or do podcasts about comics, what kind of relationship going forward we're going to have with Valiant. Because Valiant's been great to all of us that choose to take time out of our day to, work for a company that we're not employees of, I would say, whether it's reviews or just articles or interviews with creators. I hope that doesn't change. I like the work that I do when it comes to writing, and I like podcasting. And so I hope that, even though it's a huge change, I hope it's a little smooth as far as like the things that we have to take on, just because, it is fun. It's fun to write about the industry and things within it. I just hope that, I hope Valiant gets a person who's willing to kind of take that Dinesh spot, because that's what really makes Valiant flow real easy for guys like us, I feel, is that person that we can always go to when there's a question. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Travis is pointing out that, like you said, if Valiant stops responding, that'll be a concern. And he's pointing out that, like Warren and Hunter have gone silent. But I would guess that there's a strong possibility that that's kind of a PR move, PR situation.
Well, think about like this, though. Okay, like Dinesh is gone. How many things would Warren have to all of a sudden deal with from fans? Yeah. I don't blame him for not being on the internet. I don't blame Hunter for being quiet. I know Adam Friedman's been posted on Twitter, and he's been praising the sales team and things like that. And honestly, like, he seems like he's pretty like jazzed up for what's coming ahead, I know that there's been some people that kind of got out like at the right time, like Andy Legal, who bought a shop. He's always a great dude, so I won't be seeing him at shows either. But I don't know, man. I just think like it sucks. It totally sucks. Okay, like there's no like I'm not gonna be one of those fans who's just like, well, who cares? Like, let's just move on. Blah blah blah. No, it's a huge loss, But I like I like the comics. I like the community that we all have. Made a lot of friends doing this kind of stuff, and my social media accounts were just going crazy on Monday and Tuesday from all the friends that I've made doing this, just with all the news and people's reactions and all that, but we still got books coming out, I'm still a fan, and I've been through the rough times. We've all been through some rough times, I'm sure. So I'm just hoping that like we still get good books. That's all I can hope for. I hope they're as much the company they used to be. That's all I can say. Just be the company that you used to be. But our fandoms don't have to die because of one thing.
As soon as the comics become bad and I'm not enjoying them anymore, I'm done doing this podcast. I will move on and put my time into things I do enjoy. The whole purpose of why I got into podcasting is, or whatever this is now, vlogging, I don't know. But the whole reason that I started doing this was not just because I like Valiant, but because I want to put my time and energy into things that I do enjoy and that make me happy. Talking about my favorite comic book publisher makes me happy. I really enjoy it. And sometimes there are negative things. There are books that I don't like. There are differing opinions. Sometimes, Josh, you're wrong about things, and I have to. But No, but I'd rather put my time into something that I enjoy. And if there does come a day, which I know is a possibility, if there comes a day that I don't enjoy what I'm doing anymore, if because we don't get paid to do this. This is, we've never seen a dime. We've actually lost money doing this because we give books away that we buy, right? We spend money on shipping to send books out to people.
I
You
have
know,
lost money on books I've bought that I've sent out to people, and I'm sure you have. And
yeah,
Valiant, and you know what? Valiant's never been like, hey man, thank you for 2 years of podcasting and
yeah,
article.
no,
Have a gold book. Never has happened.
nope, hasn't happened. Didn't happen under the Dinesh era. As perfect
Nope.
as we all want to, we're a lot of us are putting rose-colored glasses on too. Like I'm not here to say anything negative about Dinesh, but it's not like everything has always been perfect at Valiant. It's just been a lot better than the other options, right? And if things aren't perfect moving forward, I'm not going to be all that surprised because sometimes things aren't perfect. I mean, there are ups and downs. Now, um, if the comics stay at a similar quality to where they're at right now, and we also get a stronger, more concerted effort to have Valiant invading other forms of media, such as TV and movies, et cetera, I'll be an extremely happy fan. If the focus on other media becomes a priority and the comics suffer, then I'll react accordingly. I just am not going to make any decisions ahead of time.
Yeah, and I think that's really fair. I mean, like we had this conversation on Monday because we were both just kind of like, oh yeah, like what a huge blow, and it's like, what do we do, And to me, I was just like, well, we just keep going until it's not great anymore. It's not fun. Um, I just think like personally, if I'm still enjoying it, I'm still along for the ride and I'm still having fun. So there's no point in hopping off just yet. And I
Yeah.
like to think about like the best case scenarios right now. Like what could be the best case scenario. And I hope that like maybe at the end of next year it's something, you know, concrete and solid on television, or on a movie screen. We'll see. Maybe it will be, Funko Pops that we finally get. Maybe it will be actual action figures. Maybe it will be all these things that we could never get before. Or maybe the company will just be like, you know what, we're not going to publish and we're just going to work on TV. And at that point, there's probably not going to be a Get Valiant. There'll be a Get Dynamite. I don't know. There'll be
No,
Get IDW.
there won't be a Get Dynamite.
Hell no. Oh, and speaking of that shit, I got a bone to pick about some things that, like, I have read so many times this week, and I don't want to get too crazy about Dinesh. I know that like it all happened, but we've had 4 days of bitching and moaning about this. I've done a lot of it. I don't want to get too crazy, but I don't know how many times I've read enough stuff on either different forums, Facebook pages, where people are like, man, Dinesh should just go revive Defiant or Broadway. Fuck no. Okay, like first off, those all that shit, and it's shit. It's it's owned by like, you know, some different company like that's not even doing comics anymore. And I think personally, Dinesh can do better than just following Jim Shooter's footsteps everywhere he goes in life. I'd like to think that if people think so highly of him, they think that he can do better than just being someone's shadow, you know? Because that's all I've read, man. Just tons of like, bring back Defiant. Please don't. Not going to work in this market. Not going to happen.
yeah.
And the
No, and
Broadway
that's
books are horrible. I mean, like, I'm not a huge fan of Defiant. They're okay, but the Broadway books are bad. They're just really bad.
my whole thing is like, yeah, I don't want Dinesh to try to follow in Jim Shooter's footsteps, right? Like he didn't create or well, create. He didn't bring Valiant back because he wanted to be Jim Shooter. He brought it back because he loved the characters and loved making comics, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully, if Dinesh does come back to comics, he does it with characters that he's excited about and creators that he wants to work with and to build something that he will enjoy showing people. Um, yeah, and I don't think that that's just following whatever Jim Shooter did, right? Like, yeah, because how did Defiant go? Oh yeah, it flopped pretty quick.
Well, they got sued out of business. I mean, who knows what the market would have done to them, even if they hadn't been sued by Marvel. and they won their case if I remember correctly. They just didn't have any financial footing after they were done. But who's to say that with the way the market was at that point that they don't fold? It's so hard as a small publisher to stay ahead, to even stay above water. But I mean, to me, like those books weren't very interesting then, and I have a tiny bit of an interest now, just because I do tend to go back on things that I find in quarter bins, and since I'm only paying a quarter or maybe even like less than that, I do find a tiny bit of enjoyment then. But I don't know. What I would hope is like in 2 or 3 years, Dinesh comes back and he's got his own thing going on, or maybe he's helping some people that he trusts get their thing going, something like that. That'd be cool. Because I mean, he's a great guy, man. And if I don't get to hang out with him at a Valiant booth, I'd love to hang out with him at a booth. Just
Yeah.
because he's an awesome guy to support.
Yeah. Well, and when I was talking to him, he made it sound like he probably won't retire from going to Comic Cons. So, yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll, be walking to Jeff Lemire's booth and run into Dinesh or something. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure he's still going to be friends with the people he's friends with and whatever. But I don't know, man. I mean, this is the thing when we did that roundtable on Monday, and we spent the whole time talking about Dinesh, and I love the guy. I want to support him. I will support whatever he does next as much as I can. But I just feel like, um, you know, he he's got his own path to walk, and all we can do is see what comes of that. And for now, we've still got books coming out. For example, today is Thursday. Yesterday, 2 books released, right? Next week, more books are coming out, and all we can do is take the books that we get as we get them and hope that we enjoy them. If we do, awesome. If we don't, well, then we, got to figure out what to do about that. But,
So let me ask you a question, Eric. We're now under new ownership with Valiant. What do you want to see from this company 1 year from today? Like next January, what do you want to see the company as?
the only thing that truly matters to me is that the quality of the comics I'm reading 1 year from now are comparable to the quality of the comics I'm reading right now. If they're better, awesome. If they're worse to any significant degree, then I'll have a problem with that. Anything beyond that, if movies do come out and they're good, awesome. If movies do come out and they're bad, oh well. If movies don't come out, oh well. TV shows, animated series, fucking collectible cards, goddamn bath mats, whatever. Like if more merchandise comes out and it's fun and it's engaging and people like it, awesome. If it doesn't happen, whatever. As long as comics are still coming out and they're still good and enjoyable, I will be happy. That's all I can really say. How about you, Josh? What do you want to see in the next
I'm the
year?
same way. And maybe 1 year from now, I'd want to see like what I would like to hope that if there's a new ownership and they've had issues with how this company's run, I'd like to see some of those changes and hope that they're good. Maybe they want a bigger line. It doesn't sound like they want a bigger line, but I mean, they still haven't really come out and said anything. But if I was to hear like within the next year, like, oh, you know what, like we've got all these like movies locked up, like this movie's gonna happen. This person's set up to be in this movie. Hey, we've got these books happening. This TV show is gonna happen. I'd be pretty excited. And the thing is, like, if you felt so, if the company, if Dan Mintz and DMG felt so bad about Dinesh being around, then if you make changes, they better be fucking good ones, because you had a whole fan base that really liked Dinesh. Not everyone, I guess, but like, I mean, there's some people who are just like Valiant only. That's all that matters. But if you're gonna do these things, you better make sure that they were worthwhile, because you had a great creative mind there to help get guys excited about doing the books. I hope the books are still good. Hope the books are still being published. Hope there's fans still around to buy them. I mean, we'll see. But man, I mean, like, I know that if I was to stop buying Valiant, I don't buy a lot of anything else. I buy like I I don't buy a whole lot. Like if I review something, I tend to buy the issue of it just because I reviewed it. I tend to buy all the like Alterna books, and I buy a lot of Um, Aftershock. I buy the Omnibus Press books. Still liking those, but really, there's just not a whole lot. So like, if I didn't buy Valiant, I don't even know if I would even continue buying brand new comics. I would like to still buy brand new comics. I buy a lot of older ones, but you know, new Valiant is what gets me in shops. Otherwise, I wouldn't even go to a comic book shop. So, I mean, I want the books good because it's a big part of my life is collecting and going to shops and talking to fans and comic shop owners and looking at everything on the stand. And if I didn't have that, I don't know what kind of person I'd be. Truly, I don't really know who I would be if I wasn't collecting comics, reading the new stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about that kind of stuff. And but I will say, I don't just read Valiant. Yes, I read everything that Valiant releases, and I collect at least one copy of every issue that they put out. Sometimes multiple if they're blank covers or other covers I like. But I just bought a DC comic today for the first time in quite a while.
What
I
one?
have I am actually going to give their New Age of Heroes a chance. That push that they're doing right now with a bunch of new characters that they just created. I'm going to give them a chance, and actually, I have it right here. Surprisingly, I got this one that just came out. Silencer. The
I
art looks
bought it.
kind of stupid. I'll be honest, huh?
Oh shit. Yeah, I bought that one too. Hold on, I'll be right back.
I'm pretty sure it's Ramita Jr.,
It
JRJR,
is.
and I gotta say, not a fan really. But oh yeah, Dread Gods, man.
Good stuff, man.
Um, oh, Travis is asking why or that I didn't get damage. I actually, the funny thing is, I went and ordered a copy off of eBay for damage because I realized that I had missed it. I didn't really know much about this New Age of Heroes thing because I haven't been following DC. Um, so yeah, I when I looked into it, I saw ads for it on Facebook, and I looked into it a little bit and said, you know what, DC's trying to make new characters. I'll give them a shot. If it sucks, I'll buy a couple of issues at most and be done with them. But the cool thing about it is, if you look through the creators that DC has working on these, you're going to see names like Robert Venditti, Justin Jordan, Jeff Lemire. There are a lot of actual current and former Valiant creators that are involved in this push from DC right now. And I know obviously that people like Lemire and Kint and pretty much all of the Valiant creators work for other publishers. But yeah, I mean, if these are new characters I can get with hopefully new stories from creators I know and like, I'm on board.
Yeah,
Um,
I got it too.
yeah, yeah, and um, yeah, AJ in the live chat is saying Lemire's writing the Terrifics. I think Lemire is writing another one too, the Sideways, I think it's called. It's about a guy that can like open portals, doorways, or something like that. Looks interesting, and I'm pretty sure that's the one Lemire is writing. Yeah,
I
I
have
think
it
that
pre-ordered. So I mean, like, it was kind of billed as like a DC version of the Fantastic Four. So I was like, oh
yeah,
yeah, I'll try it. It's Lemire, and I buy all that other stuff that Lemire writes. So
yeah. Well, he writes a lot of really
I
good
do
stuff.
tend to like at least like the things he writes. I don't. Some of them I don't like that much, but some of them I like a lot. Black Hammer is like the best case scenario.
Yeah,
I love
Black Hammer's
Black
great.
Hammer. Like all that stuff is great. But then like to me, like things like Underwater Welder, I don't get like the hoopla around it. I thought it was just okay.
I have no
That's
idea
just
what you're talking about.
it was an independent book he did. It was like a Twilight Zone episode.
Oh,
People love it, and I just think,
I read like one trade of Descender that was really good, but
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we can talk about every comic we've read if we want to, but
Let's talk about every single comic in my room right now.
hold on, let me pull out my long boxes. We'll talk about every comic in my no. I no, but what I was saying is, like I will continue reading other stuff, and there's a strong possibility that even if Valiant completely goes down the tubes and I'm not enjoying anything from them anymore, I'm going to continue not only reading and supporting comics, but I'll probably just do a different, you know, a different podcast, a different show, right? And support the things that I like. Because to kind of circle back to what I was talking about before, the whole reason I do this is because this is something that I enjoy. As soon as I don't enjoy it anymore, I'm done. It's as
I
simple as
hear you.
that. So, should we get into reviewing books?
Let's review some books.
Yeah, let's review some comics. I know that it's more fun to talk about controversy sometimes, and more
I feel
interesting
like
and
I've
bombastic.
gotten
But
so much of that out of my system by now that
I
even like,
know, I know, I'm pretty well done talking about DMG and everything too.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know why I didn't pick up an A cover for Quantum and Woody for some reason. I don't know. I got to go back to the shop and get an A cover because my OCD will kill me if I don't. Um, but I did grab that bad boy. Yeah, you got that one too, huh?
Yeah, it was the only one they had like that I saw.
Dude,
Um,
that foil is so cool. I'm so stoked that they're doing these foil covers. Like, they're so ridiculous and cheesy, and I love it.
yeah.
I had to also grab this bad boy, the blank. I'm not,
Oh,
I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the blank number twos, right? Like they did this with EXO. Did they do it with Bloodshot Salvation too, I think?
Salvation,
Um,
Ninja K, I think they did it
Ninja
too.
K. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the number twos. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a blank with that logo on there, right? The title. But um, yeah, uh, I don't know why it bothers me, is what I'm trying to say, but it
I hear
does.
you. You know what? I'm an even less of a fan of number threes that are blank. Okay, there's
Especially when they're
one.
really rare and overpriced for no real reason.
I got one, you know, and I was just like, I just want to get a sketch on it. Like all I've seen are blank ones. Like, fuck that. Throw some shit on that thing, man.
So, Quantum and Woody number two. Um, I don't think that this issue had as much impact on me as the first issue did, but I think that that's kind of inevitable. Um, I waited so long to get more Quantum and Woody, and was so jacked when that first issue came out. And it held up to my hype so well that I really don't think that there was a chance of this issue standing up. You know?
Yeah, this was a damn near. The first issue was damn near perfect. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it got really high grades. I thought this one was still pretty good, and you know, the plot moves along. You know, we see you know, Woody has to go and basically kind of help kidnap Quantum, and they're going off to do their, you know, evil things while at the same time. Oh, and real quick, because we didn't get this out of the way, even though I feel like if you listen to our shit, you know, fucking spoilers, okay?
Yeah, there's
We're gonna,
spoilers coming. Anybody watching? Sorry.
there's nobody watching. We're just
What?
gonna
No,
go
I said
through
if
and then
anybody is watching.
show each page, so we don't have to actually talk about it. No,
Just show all the pages. It's the great thing about doing video.
if you can take some web shots, you know, you can just print your own one.
I was gonna
No,
say that's a terrible way to bootleg a comic.
but you know, there's a big kerfuffle between Quantum and Woody because Woody's father's still alive, and Quantum knew, and he doesn't tell Woody, and Woody's mad at Eric, and then you know we still have the bad guys from issue one, and they want to get into where Eric works and take all of his things, or take all the things that they house there, all the special weapons and such, and they pretty much do it. You know, it was a great issue. One thing I do kind of wish though, and I guess like maybe this is part of the charm of Quantum and Woody, but every single Quantum and Woody story pretty much flashes back all the time, and I mean like it's okay. It is Chris Priest's thing, you know, but like I kind of think at some point it'd be a little neat if like someone was like, hey, we're just gonna tell the story and we're just not gonna do flashbacks. We're just gonna like focus on the story. The neat thing is though is that you know this book flashes back. We don't get an art change because that's what every fucking Valiant book does. Every book is like, hey, we got to tell you about something that happened last week. We're gonna bring in you know Diego Bernard to tell it. or we're gonna bring in Roberto de la Torre or whoever, they're gonna bring in a different artist. So at least like Cafu's art is in this one, or Kano's art is in this one the whole time. But I do kind of wish, like, from a storytelling standpoint of trying to like change things up a little bit, just change like the direction that the story is told. I mean, does it really have to have like the black bar and the information, and then they're playing D&D, which was cool. It was good. It was good. And I mean, like, none of that stuff is bad. It's just, to me, I just think like it just gets a little old. It's a little stale of a storytelling approach to me to just constantly have, the flashbacks between the two of them, so that you see how dysfunctional they are. Like, I think we get how dysfunctional they are.
Yeah, but a lot of it still adds to the story, and I think that it's good. I like the
Yeah.
black bars with the text. I like all that stuff, man. Like,
Well,
I
I do
get
too.
that it's,
But I just
huh?
think like it's been done, like, and it's just constantly been done. Like, I think something else needs to happen a little bit too, though. This isn't much of a critique because the book is enjoyable, and I've enjoyed Quantum and Woody all the way back to Acclaim. And I know that the newer, not the new current series, but like the previous series that James Asmus wrote, a lot of people tend to like complain about it. I thought it was pretty good. It was
I
still really good.
loved, I
Yeah.
loved the Asmus run. But anyway, the thing that makes this issue for me is the little details. It's the page that you had to turn upside down and then
Right.
turn right side up again. And then all the little descriptions of the different weapons and items in that warehouse, and things like your guess is as good as ours, and you know what I mean, like the little jokes. Oh, are you finding the page? There you go. Yeah, that
Where you can
page
turn
is
it and then turn
so,
it again.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome. And it's
Oh
so
yeah.
wacky and zany and
It was a huge pain in
the
the ass to read on digital because my phone
yes.
just would not like stop turning.
Yes. That was a pain in the ass, but in the physical version, it's cool as hell.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I think that just doing fun little stupid stuff like that is what makes this comic so good. And I think that it was something that there was a lot of those little jokes in the Asmus run that I really liked, and I think Kibble Smith is doing a really good job of it being the same, because this really feels like it's a continuation of these characters. And I would also say the art, there are a lot of little things in the art that you'll notice that if you look at the pages long enough, I mean, there are some comics where you can sit and um, fly through a book and not really miss anything on the art. This is not one of those books. There are a lot of pages in this issue where the longer you look at the page, the more you realize there's crazy, wacky stuff going on. And a lot of it's pretty hilarious. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think that this is a really good book. Maybe not as good or exciting or impactful as the first issue, but I still think it's really good. And I definitely am on board with this book, with this title for quite a long time. I'm not going to be questioning this book at all, no matter what else happens at Valiant. As long as this book stays the way it is, I'm 100% on board with it. But as for an issue, I would go a 4.25 on this. I think it's strong. It's good. But again, not perfect. But yeah, a lot of fun. I definitely had some good chuckles while I was reading it. And that's what I want from a Quantum and Woody book.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say about my critique of how like the story is told, I wouldn't necessarily consider that a negative of my enjoyment of this book. I loved it, and as far as like I think Kano on art, Kano is the best person to like draw these characters. I just love how this book looks. There's a lot of great pages. I don't know how well this will show up, but like this page, I just thought like there's so much attention to detail put there by Kano. The whole book has a lot of great visuals. Um, I know I said this. I think I said this when we reviewed the first book. I said that like there are better, more detailed artists. I just don't think that some of those more detailed artists could do on a page what Kano does necessarily, just because of what his style is. And I agree. Like I wholeheartedly agree with what I said, because after looking at this issue, I just thought, man, like visually, I can't think of any other comics that I'm looking at that approach the visual storytelling aspect as Quantum and Woody does, whether you like the characters or not. And I know they're a hard sell with the Valiant community. I think like I can't imagine why someone wouldn't read this. I mean, it's okay to like comedy, it's okay to like funny stuff. Daniel Kibblesmith is really witty with this, but it's still intelligent. It's still like an intelligent book. Um, I don't. It wasn't even like a quick read either, which I thought was really great. Like I thought like I think I've read this issue probably like 3 times just because I had to kind of go through. The digital was hard as hell to read. I mean, it was a chore. I mean, you get to some of the pages and you're just like trying to like expand on them. I had to read it on my computer, and even still, that center page, I was just like, this. I gotta go get the copy. I gotta get a copy. I'm probably already gonna have in my DCBS order later this month. But I would go about a 4.25 on this too. And I hope that if I know that's probably a bit of a departure from how we rated the first issue, but if all the issues are at least this good, I'd be pretty damn happy with it.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I do like about this run so far, 2 issues in, is how the Quantum and Woody haters have all been like in this run so far. It seems like the people that don't necessarily like these characters like them in this setting, and that's great. Valiant found a way to win people over on the characters by it's a third attempt at them, or a second attempt if you look at it with VEI, but people are on board with it. So I'm hoping for good things with the series.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board with this book. Very happy with it and want to see what's next. The bigger book that came out would be this bad boy, the one that I did get an A cover. Eternity #4.
Yes, I did not buy one when I went to the shop.
Because you're not a real fan.
I read it.
You're not a real fan.
I guess. I wish I could be a real fan. Something happened in my life this week where I couldn't be as big a fan, okay? Come on.
We're talking about artists on the live chat. I don't know why. You got to get in on the live chat, Josh. I'm over here representing us both and trying to talk to you and talk to them.
You know what? I'm cool with that. You're so great at doing all the multitasking. I'm on my phone with a tripod. So I mean,
dude, I got my tablet right here that I'm talking to and doing the video call on. Hanging out with my phone over here next to me, and then I got my computer also where I'm watching the live chat. So, and then of course my comics sitting over here. So yeah, I think you need to get on my level, bro.
Where do we do the live chat at? Is it on the Facebook?
No, it's on the YouTube page of the video itself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Get on my level. No, we're talking about Cafu, because I was saying we were talking in the live chat about how just like you said, Kano is a great artist for this book, and I was saying that I'd rather see Kano do this book than La Rosa, Sawayan, Cafu, and I love all those artists. And then we got to talking about Cafu, and he did Rapture, and yeah, he's amazing. But Travis said something about DMG trying to woo us by getting Fowler to do more issues. Who's Fowler? Why am I not knowing who that is? Travis, you got to tell me who you're talking about. I don't know who that is.
Tom Fowler?
I don't know who that is. What did he do?
He worked on the previous run.
Doing what? Art?
Yeah, that book had like a shit ton of artists.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because I know like Steve Lieber did it. I don't know. See, now the live chat has moved on to Eternity, and we got sidetracked. Okay, so Eternity #4. I've been kind of saying about this series that these issues didn't really do a ton for me individually as I read them. Like, they're good, but it's almost like too much has been happening. And it left me really curious about whether or not things were going to be wrapped up well. So yeah, I was really kind of concerned about that. But I think that this issue pulled it off, really. There's a really good explanation for everything that's going on, kind of finding out what was really going on with their child, that, the observer planted the child there for Mishka. Um, and Sean is saying, a Divinity series all the way through eternity would be a great animated movie series, and I think that that's true. Like, but at the same time, the only reason that I would struggle to agree with that is things like, okay, now I'm going to pull a Josh and actually find a page in here. Oh my God, I opened straight to it because it's the center. This spread here,
Awesome.
where you go from the fully rendered art and it gets all the way to the point where you're getting layouts and script instead of actual captions. Like, you couldn't pull that off in an animated movie, live action movie, TV show. You really couldn't pull that off anywhere but comics, right? I think Divinity is a really good um, a really good example of a comic that can't really work as anything other than a comic. Um, Sean is referencing the Aha video from the 80s. That's not the same thing, right? Like, you wouldn't get the same effect, you know? You couldn't. It just, I don't think it would work. And you can disagree with me. That's fine. I just don't think it would work anywhere other than in a comic, the way that it is. It's such a comic oriented story, and the way that it's told, and the importance of story and books to this entire series from Divinity through Eternity has been really well done. I've really enjoyed that. And, I've never been a huge Trevor Harrison fan, but I do think that it's a good thing this has had the same artist the whole time. And when we got those pages at the beginning of The Observer and looking at all the things that have happened through the Valiant history and that kind of stuff, I thought that was really cool, really well done. I think that there's a lot of good art in this issue. So overall, I was really pleased with it.
You know, this issue was kind of hella confusing to me at first. Because to me, like, it dealt with like some weird shit that in a way did kind of remind me a little bit of like the New Gods of DC. The magic bullet through time that kills the Observer, sent from David Camp's crew. And how long has David Camp been in there? And he's got a little bit of power too, because he's been touched by divinity, and I guess all of his crew have a little bit of power. I had to look at it a couple times because I was just like, wow, like, this is pretty dense. Like, it was a bit confusing at first, trying to figure out like where everything happens. But man, what an ending. Like, the best part about this ending to me was the moment when like Divinity and Mishka are just like, let's just make our own baby. Like, that they're having their own happy ending. Meanwhile, David Camp looks like he might be becoming like a pretty decent foil to them.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a character, honestly, before this entire series, I just kind of thought like, oh, he's been kind of thrown away to the wayside, like, who cares about David Camp? And then he made a tiny little appearance during Divinity 3 in one of the one-shots. Maybe it was in one of the one-shots, or maybe it was in the main mini. I can't remember. And I didn't think too much of it. He was just a guy. He was just there. But, man, I kind of want to go back now and read all the stuff.
Yeah.
Just to see like if there was any kind of hint that he was something more than just a normal guy after all of this.
Well, luckily, they just came out with the complete trilogy in a hardcover.
You don't say.
I do say.
Yeah, I tried buying one, and my shop didn't have one that I go to. So I'll probably just order it online now, since I can't have it like the week it came out. But it's too bad, because I would have loved to have talked about it too. Just because I love the deluxe editions. They're one of my favorite things about Valiant. And I love talking about them, man. I love trying to sell.
I'm going to work really hard not to buy that, but there may come a day when I can no longer resist it, and I do, because it looks like it's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this book. We're talking about this issue of Eternity. We're not talking about the Divinity hardcover.
Maybe we can talk about it in a minute after we're done with this. But
okay.
Because I just have one thing I do want to say about it, but we'll wait till after this. I'm hoping there's more. I mean, like, there's a good ending to this, but it does still end where you're like, okay, something more could happen, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the end of these characters. It doesn't seem like it's the end of David Camp. And man, I'll tell you what, like, if David Camp is going to be a bad guy, I don't even know if you would necessarily even call him a bad guy. I think he's a guy that just kind of felt like he felt affected by Divinity, and Divinity just kind of threw him to the side. And he's
He
never
just
had
feels
anything else.
entitled. He's a bad
Yeah,
guy, man. He's just like a whining kid who's like, "Oh, you gave me a little bit, but you didn't give me everything,
I
and you
can't buy a
deserve
house
every."
because I drink coffee. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
So
but
that,
anyway, like a guy like that with that kind of power, okay, is a big deal in the Valiant universe, okay, because there's not a lot of guys that have that power set that could really like, you know, Kwame and Woody aren't going to go up against a guy with that power and like kick his ass real quick, you know, things like that. He could be a cool character with abilities. And it would be cool to see like his friends, you know, like the dude that turned into butterflies from the
yeah.
very first issue back in the day,
The
man.
bird guy. The bird guy made an appearance.
Yeah, I know. So it's like these people still exist, you know, and I hope that like Kent's going to do another series. I've brought this up before. I don't think Trevor Harrison is exclusive with Valiant anymore. So I mean, will they do another series? Will they do it without Trevor Harrison or Ryan Wynn? I hope there's more. I fucking love this series. I love every Divinity miniseries. Divinity is totally a character I love. He's not one of the original like Valiant characters. He's definitely like a newer creation that's awesome. Who's almost as cool as everything else, man. So for me, like this was maybe like the most. I thought this was honestly the most intelligent issue of Divinity I've read. Just because I
Yeah,
thought all the David Camp stuff was just so interesting, and it was confusing at first, but I had to go back through, and I was like, okay. I almost like tried to write down the timeline of like how he did shit, just because I was like, how does this work? But I loved it, man. I would give this one about a 4.75, man. I mean, I love everything about Divinity. I think that's like the score I give every single Divinity book. I might have given the first issue a 5, but it's just one of those things, right? I like it so much. Keep them coming. Just keep them coming, man. I need more. I'm already ready for like more of like Abram and Mishka and David Camp. Awesome stuff.
yeah. I want more too. Divinity and Mishka are having a baby. You know, they're talking about trying to have another baby that is actually their own. That could be interesting. And yeah, the David Camp stuff. And Sean was mentioning that in Book of Death, one of the Book of Death one shots, the Fall of Harbinger one shot, they mentioned David Camp as part of the Divinity Collective. And that may be what it's going toward. I'm not sure. But um, yeah, I mean, if people
But we
don't
know that
remember,
stuff's not even canon. Come on.
you're a Book of Death hater. The uh, first Divinity series, when Divinity came back to Earth, there was a guy climbing the rocks, and that's David Camp, right? So he literally has been around since the beginning of Divinity, and he's kind of been in the background for a bit here, but obviously he's coming to the forefront, and it just makes me wonder if Kent had that plan the whole time, you know? Um, Entirely possible. But yeah, I
It's
do
crazy
think that this
because
is a
like
strong issue. Huh?
it's crazy because like you wouldn't think anything of David Camp. I think if you finish that first series, you wouldn't think like, oh, that guy's gonna have some crazy ass powers. Like he just seems like a human who has embraced this godlike being, and they all worship at his feet. And he became something far more interesting.
Yeah.
So
Travis
I
is
don't know.
saying that Camp and Casimir should team up. I think that Casimir should come back eventually, but I don't see him teaming up with anybody. He's going to come back with like more knowledge and power than we can imagine. And yeah, he's
Well,
not
and
going to need
that's
a
a good
partner.
point too. You know, because Casimir is the one now who's probably will have seen more of anything than anyone because he didn't just reside on Earth and then go to the unknown. He's just exploring everything. He's got the opportunity to go where his power. He's got no limit to where he can go.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like if he came back, why would he come back and be a villain? You know, he would probably be the one that they look to for additional information because
Yeah, but he's just an angry guy, man. He's
he's
gonna come
angry.
back angry. I don't
But
know. I don't know. We'll see what
he's
happens.
gonna be soaring the spaceways like the Silver Surfer in essence, you know. So it's like, what's he gonna be angry about? You know, he's gonna be the guy who sees everything
I
and
don't
not just
know. That remains to be seen. We can speculate all day. If I
let's
was
speculate
writing
all day.
Casimir's return, he'd be a bad guy.
Let's just
Um,
speculate all day. God damn it!
um, oh, Sean is pointing out that Auric knows everything the Torment knew because they gave him all their knowledge. So he might know almost as much as Casimir is. But still, then again, at the same time, even the Torment didn't have as much of the same powers as what Casimir does. Anyway, I would say Eternity 4 for me is, I don't know, this one's pretty tough for me to score. I think I'm just going to go with the 4.25. Same as Quantum and Woody 2. Still solid, still good. But, you know, Eternity's not my favorite thing, right? Like, it's really good. It's intelligent. It's thought provoking. But yeah, it's just not my favorite thing, you know. That's all I can really say.
There was one thing I really liked about this issue too, where I want to say that Divinity said something along the lines of like, David Camp, you got me so angry, I could almost hit you.
He
Because I
like
always comment about how
almost punched him.
yeah, he almost punched him. He was so angry he almost punched him. I was like, you could do it. Come on, Divinity. You can
I just need you to hit somebody.
just sock a fool up, man. Come on.
Homie, don't
So,
play that.
so the one thing I wanted to comment about the deluxe edition is that it's kind of crappy that I think you're just gonna see a ton of the first Divinity hardcovers, the one that just has the May series. They're gonna end up everywhere because I think people are just gonna start dumping them on eBay and trying to sell them back to their comic shops for credit or something like that. Because why would you even want it? You know, they have this really nice edition that contains everything that came out prior, and everything I've read about it, like from people who bought them, they really like them. You know, and I haven't had a chance to look at the extra content yet, that's another reason why I'm like, oh, I gotta get it, you know, because I love extra content.
Yeah.
But oh man, I was just so bummed they didn't have one, you know, and I try to keep up on all that shit, you know. So hopefully, like maybe next week I can have one and talk about it for a minute, but we'll see.
Yeah, we don't talk about the hardcovers a lot, but I suppose we can give it a shot. Um, oh man. Is there anything else that we need to cover that we haven't covered?
Not that I can think of, you know.
I
I
asked
think
the live chat, but they're not getting back to me. I don't know who's all even in the live chat. I don't think we have very many people watching. We bored people with our book reviews, I think.
yeah,
Um,
maybe they didn't want to get spoiled. Maybe they hadn't read their books yet.
yeah,
They
they
took our
couldn't
advice
handle
to
this.
come back later.
Yeah, that's the smart thing to do. Um, I don't know. I'm gonna read all of this New Age of DC Heroes thing, and I think we're gonna talk about that later. I think we're gonna
Well, we
talk
can do
about
that
that
'cause,
in the future.
I have a copy of Damage somewhere. I glanced through it. It looked cool. It looked interesting, and it was Venditti. So I mean, I think like I was like, well, I'll try it. And then yeah, read Silencer. I don't know when another book is going to come out yet, but we can talk about them. You know, maybe we can wait till
Yeah,
all the initial first
I
issues
haven't
come
read.
out. Have a conversation about it.
Yeah, yeah, I haven't read Silencer yet. Like I said, I ordered Damage, so hopefully I'll have that by the time we record next week. We can chat about those. Also, people in the live chat, whether you're live with us right now, which it seems like Sean and AJ are both still here, um, um, whether you're live with us right now or watching later, feel free to give us suggestions. One thing that we've been trying here lately is obviously we talk about Valiant news and we do the reviews of the books, but it's kind of nice after we get done talking about the Valiant stuff to spend a little bit of time, talking about some stuff that's not Valiant. So that's kind of why I want to talk about some of this DC stuff, why we talked about Invincible in the past, Kill or Be Killed. And I want to continue kind of doing that. I was asking, like I said, for topics in the live chat. Sean was saying, should they do animated series to expose characters? And I say yes. He suggested Unity. I think that's a great suggestion. The great thing about Unity is it's kind of, like the Justice League. You kind of get a lot of the characters that are at the forefront of the Valiant universe all at once. In my personal version of Unity, Bloodshot would be there. So if you could do a Unity cartoon that includes Bloodshot, I would be stoked.
My only thoughts on that is just like how you would market and show it, because I think if it was like direct to Blu-ray or DVD, I think it'd be a hard sell for some people. But if you were to be like, hey, we're gonna do this kind of like a cool live action, not necessarily adult, but like it's kind of serious, like serious in the vein of like Justice League Unlimited back in the day on like Cartoon Network, but with better art, like with animation, like how the the anime movies are right now. If you did something like that, maybe even if you chopped it up into episodes on like the later time slots on like Cartoon Network, it'd be awesome, man. It'd be a great way to expose those characters. I think it would just be hard if you're like, hey, you don't know these characters, come buy this Blu-ray or DVD, because people are gonna be like, who the hell are those people? Like, yeah, there's 10,000 Valiant fans that might know who they are, but like, not everybody does know who they are. So it just comes along to like how you get that out there. But that would be awesome. That's one of those things that people have been asking about for 5 years, man. Like animated movies or anything, just something that people can watch, because we are in a time right now where like every company has movies. There's Dark Horse movies and characters from Image have movies, and fucking everybody does. I mean,
Yeah.
so I mean, like, you got 2,000 characters you own. Let's see what you can do with them now, Valiant. That you
See, and
couldn't
that's
do prior.
not that I want to get back on this topic, but that's one of the potential positives with DMG is that they do really want to focus on putting these characters out there because, like you said, everybody has movies and TV shows and all this stuff except Valiant.
Well, I don't know. What's stopping Dan Mintz? I mean, he's got 3 minutes of Iron Man directorial experience. So I mean, like, let's see what he can do.
He's the expert, obviously.
Yeah, they made Looper.
No, I think if you put
Looper good.
see, here's like actually my like ideal situation. I want a Daredevil or Punisher style Netflix series for Bloodshot and EXO and Ninjak and Livewire. If you give like a series like that, I think people would really get into the characters.
Here's something about that though, that I think is actually a possibility here. And we've heard nothing like that, okay? But Disney's going to try to create its own streaming service. They own Marvel. What happens to the Netflix Marvel shows? Are they going to stay on Netflix? Is Netflix going to have some kind of clause that kicks over and gives it back to Disney? And then Disney puts it on whatever their streaming service is? And then at that point, does Netflix say, hey, these were incredibly popular. DC does all their shows on the CW. Half of them suck. So, I mean, like,
Half.
they're not.
Yeah, right, half.
Okay, like, I like The Flash. and I think The Flash has got some flaws, but it's actually incredibly entertaining as a comic book fan. But my whole point being that, like, and it's just a huge if those shows have to disappear, would Netflix be like, hey, let's find another shared universe to replace them with? And if you look at how those shows are done, they're excellent, with the exception of Iron Fist. We're not even going to go down that road. But, like, Daredevil was awesome. Fucking Luke Cage was awesome. I love Jessica Jones. I'm a big fan of those shows, except for one.
Yeah.
And
can you imagine getting like an EXO series, an Eternal Warrior series, a Livewire series, maybe a couple other characters that are Bloodshot, and then getting a Unity series, like they did with the Defenders? Like that would be amazing.
It'd be awesome. I would hope that they don't do it where they introduce four different characters, and then the fifth series is them teaming up. Just because it does become a copycat thing, it would just be like, I think it'd just be cool if they were just like, hey, you know what? We do one series or two, and then we introduce the team. If the other two characters seem popular, hey, let's give them a series too. But it's all speculation. It's all daydreaming at this point. Like, what could we get? But if this is what they want, if DMG has been so worried that they haven't gotten their TV shows and movies and all that kind of stuff, well, The ball's in their court. We're waiting on them to do it now. But I don't know. We don't need to go down that road again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Sean did point out that Netflix bought the whole all of Mark Miller's properties.
Bar.
So
Look,
it would be like,
if they make some more Kick-Ass, I'm okay with that. Because I don't think, like the first movie was good and the second one was just like entertaining. It wasn't great. If they just make a shit ton of like some dude beating the poor shit out of like somebody, okay, I'll watch that.
yeah, but like, have you read Reborn?
I haven't. People tell me I need to read it,
Well, I wouldn't
But
say you need to read it. It's not like Secret Weapons good. It's not like Kill or Be Killed good, but it is pretty good.
I feel like I keep wondering like what would they put out there, because like I think Kick-Ass, they can't do anything with Kick-Ass on there, and they can't do anything with the Kingsman Secret Service stuff because that's all studio owned also. And there's nothing
I
else
heard a rumor about Reborn being developed, and I think that would make a really good series.
Nemesis would be interesting, but I thought it had a really weird plot twist near the end of the series that I was just like, fuck, this book is so dumb. I couldn't handle it anymore. And but it looked cool. I mean, it had like a really good character design for the guy. He was just such a super badass. The book just got ruined in the third issue for me. But I don't know. I don't give too much of a fuck about like Mark Miller anymore. So if his if his shows happen, if Netflix does all that stuff, cool. But they should do Valiant. Those
Yeah.
characters are way more interesting.
No, I agree. But cool. Well, that's probably exhausted topics for today. I'm sure that there'll be plenty more to talk about next time. Hopefully,
I hope there is something to talk about next time, as far as Valiant / DMG coming out and actually just saying something about where they're headed. Not just the press release we got from Hunter this week. Get me excited. Get me excited about what's to come.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I get why they're kind of holding back a little bit. They're not being super vocal during this period when the fandom is losing its fucking mind. But hopefully, as soon as the fandom calms down, they'll start bringing out news, and maybe that'll be within the next week. We'll see when we come back for episode 70. We got to try to figure out something to do for this next episode. It's
hey, let me tell you, I kept thinking I was gonna say like Saturday, Sunday, I had a couple thoughts where I was like, man, what kind of funny sexual joke do I get to make at mine and Eric's expense for episode 69? And instead, Valiant fucked us. So that ain't gonna happen.
Oh.
Anyway, I didn't get to have a good joke. I was really bummed about
it. Oh man. Well, I thank you everybody for checking us out, whether you watched live and interacted with us, because I love having this live chat. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite things about doing this live.
We'll try and get podcast episodes back again sometime.
Yeah, I got to talk to Ryan about that. You should talk to Ryan about that. You deal with it. I don't want to deal with it.
Is he able to pull the audio?
Huh? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Fuck off.
We don't need to edit anything. We just have to put our music on, right? And then
fuck the music. We don't need music.
No, we got to have our intro. We have to have the JDF intro, man.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. Signing off, I'm Eric Baumgard.
I'm Josh Rathbun. Hi.
I hope you all have a great week. Stay DMG.
Stay acclaim.